What's up, big baller shot callers? Big Ken here, joined by my good friend Brandon. What's up, Brandon?
Hey, what's up, man? Glad to be back. How have you
Yeah,
been?
it's been a while, man. Glad to see you,
Yeah,
man. Glad
definitely.
you've been looks like you've been doing okay, man.
Yeah, been
How you
doing
been the
good.
last month or so? Haven't It's been a while.
Yeah, been busy. Work's had a different schedule. It went from one busy period to a slow period before it gets busy again. So yeah, I'm it's gonna be a little bit more stable at least for now.
Good, good, good.
Yeah.
Well, all right, folks. Again, welcome from the Grid to the Rim Sports Talk Show. We got a good show in store for you tonight. NBA 2024 NBA draft. This happened on Thursday and Friday. We're going to talk about that. Obviously, some key talking points. Bronny James does indeed get drafted late in the second round, so we'll talk about that. We'll also talk about three French players get drafted in the top six. First time in NBA history, four in the first round overall. There's some interesting picks with Donovan Clingan and Zach Edey and some other guys, but especially the two big men. So we'll cover that today, and also just talk about the NBA draft 2-day format. Some people may like it, some people may not, but we'll hit that up as well, and just our thoughts about the NBA draft, in general, anything else we can come up with here for the show tonight. All right, let's get into it. The three French players, the number ones and number two picks were French players. Last year, Victor Wembanyama was the number one pick, being a French player. So this is 2 years in a row. A French guy's been drafted number one. Three in the top six made NBA history, though. So, what's your thoughts on that, Brandon? Man, the rest of the world's catching up to us.
Yeah, yeah, they are. The Euro style basketball, FIBA. It's kind of, I think, with players emerging like Wembanyama, Luka, and Jokic, you're seeing how these guys are fundamentally sound. They play aggressive defense. Well, maybe not Luka so much, but these
Yeah,
guys can play. They play team basketball. They play fundamentally sound, and I with this draft though, I think part of international basketball having some superstars come into the league, I think this draft was heavily based on potential.
hmm
You see a lot of players get drafted just off of potential, and something I'll always say is potential is just something that hasn't happened yet. So they're hoping to really catch on to something because it wasn't a really big draft in the way of actual talent that's ready to play for the most part.
Yeah, I agree with that. This was an interesting draft. It does seem like it was all based off potential, what they think they can do. There wasn't anyone really standing out, really, like you
Yeah,
said. Not at
yeah,
all.
no,
Not
no.
at
I
all.
know the second one drafted Alex Sarr. You see his name kind of in the mocks early in the
Yeah.
season up there, but I mean, he's a tall, lankier, quick center that can guard all the positions. It looks like so. I kind of thought he'd go first. I believe the Hawks still have Clint Capella. I haven't really kept up with a lot of rosters in the
Yeah.
offseason
They keep
lately,
on
but
changing, but yeah, I think he's
yeah.
still there. Yeah.
Yeah, and then free agency's just starting too, so
Right.
they're in some
Right.
trades have already happened.
Yeah,
Like,
that's going to really change things up. We're going to be like, man, I didn't know this guy even got traded when they start the season next October. Like, what? So, yeah,
yeah,
the free agency is
yes,
always crazy, man. So, yeah, my thoughts on the European players. Yeah, they're catching up. Remember 1992 U.S. Olympics was the first time we ever used our professional players to play in Olympics. I was like, about freaking time. I mean, of course, Michael Jordan, Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, Charles Barkley, Patrick Ewing, all those guys, David Robinson, they just freaking dominated. Clyde Drexler, they just tore it up. I mean, the average margin of victory was like 40 plus points. 96, it was really good. Not as good. I think the first team was probably the best one overall. That's arguable, but I think most people would agree with that.
yeah,
2000 was okay, but you saw that like France and other teams were catching up. Like, ooh, yeah, they're
mhm,
getting better. 2000 European teams look a little bit better, and even some of the South American teams, and then especially Argentina. Then 2004, we lost. Remember,
Mhm.
we
Yeah.
I think had to play the third place game. I think Argentina got us with Manu Ginobili, of course, a long time San Antonio Spur, and there was other players on that team. But I know Manu Ginobili is a big name I can think
I
of
think
right now.
I think it was Luis Silva, the power forward for the Rockets for years, was on that
Yes,
Argentinian team
yes.
too. Yeah.
We're talking about 20 years ago, man. Like how fast time flies. But I remember I was like shocked. But that team was based off of the 2014 was best off guys who can have 40-inch verticals, but they couldn't. They had no fundamentals. They didn't
Yeah.
pass. They couldn't shoot.
Yeah.
Yeah, all they could do was fast break. It seemed like, yeah, if they get a fast break, they're gonna wow you because how fast they are and how high they can jump, and their athleticism was off the charts, but their team ball and their shooting just wasn't. And yeah, we got beat.
Mhm.
Um, we cleaned that up obviously. We haven't lost since, but you can still tell the world is getting closer though, especially France. Geez, man,
Yeah.
2 years in a row, number one picks, and they just look good. And of course, I guess you could say the old man for the French is Tony Parker. I guess you call him the French goat. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
he played with, of course, the San Antonio Spurs. I was mentioning Manu Ginobili, beating the U.S. in the 2004 Olympics. He was playing with Manu Ginobili, him and you know David Robson for a little bit, but the other big man, really good. I kind of lost my train of thought. Oh my God, Tim
Go.
Duncan. Can't
Yeah.
can't
Yeah.
forget,
Tim Duncan. Yeah.
can't
Yeah.
forget Mr. Fundamentals, Mr. Backboard
Oh
Shot.
yeah.
I love that
Yeah.
guy though. A quiet
Yeah.
leader, quiet assassin. I loved everything about that dude. But anyways, yeah, France is catching up, and the rest of the world is catching up, man.
Yeah.
It's not like the U.S. women's national basketball team where it seems like they're almost guaranteed to get a gold medal. I mean, men. I mean, we're still favored, obviously, but we got our work cut out for us, man.
Mhm.
Another thing I want to add on real quick before I get to our next subject is I think me and Monty covered this before. A lot of the European players they start playing pro ball at like a high school like age in the late teens, and I think that might help them out too with their maturity and just being ready to play because we have the high school basketball, of course, and we have college, with nothing wrong with that, but we have a different system, and it seems like these guys are very mature at 19 or 20 years old compared to like guys coming out United States being 20 years old, come out of the NBA where they might be really talented, but sometimes like there's maturity issues. Not with all of them, of course, but some of them. But that's one
Yeah.
thing Monty covered. Don't know your thoughts on that, but it seems like the European players are more mature at a younger, faster age, maybe because they're playing professional ball at 15 or 16 years old in some European circuit, with grown men.
Yeah. Yeah. Like Lucas started, I think, at 15 or 16. Uh, and I know it's basketball there. It's pretty much the same. It's club style. So um, it's like they have their academies like in world soccer where you have your under 17 academy teams, your under 21s, and then you make your way up to the big club team, and you have to be eligible like 16 to actually make it out. So but yeah, you start playing from just young ages. It's like high school, college, where you're going to classes, and then you just kind of graduate to the age for where you're able to play. And
Yeah,
yeah, they still do that because it's all the same. Real Madrid has a basketball team as well. When
right.
Luca was playing over in Spain, I think he was playing for that. I'm
He
probably
was.
wrong,
He
but
left.
it was Real
Left
Madrid.
his
Okay,
country to
okay,
go there. Yeah, he did.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
His path was playing pro basketball somehow, some way, leaving that young of an age, leaving his own country to go play
Yeah.
pro basketball somewhere. He was definitely on a different path.
Mhm.
Yeah, for sure, man. But
Oh yeah.
yeah, let's talk about our probably number one subject tonight, the thing that everyone's thinking about. Young Mr. Bronny James,
Yeah.
drafted number 55. Some people think the reason why he got drafted because the Lakers picked him in their 55. No one else was going to take him. There's so many pros and well, I don't want to say pros and cons, but some people are all for it, some people aren't. I have so many mixed feelings about this. I understand where LeBron James and his son want to make NBA history, being the first father and son to ever play at the same time. Of course, a lot of sons have followed in their father's footsteps and played in the NBA 20 plus years later after their dads retired. A lot of players like that. And there's a lot more coming. There's a lot of sons playing right now in high school ball, and they're freaking tearing it up, and they'll probably be in the NBA soon, in the next 3 or 4 years. But Bronny James, I understand he didn't show um, his best ball last year with his huge health scare. I think he's better than what his stats show, but does that mean he's ready to play in the NBA? I do think he was a legitimate high school All-American, and usually those guys did really well at their blue blood schools, and they get 1 or 2 years in college and they go off in the NBA and usually have great careers. I'm just happy Brian James is healthy. That's the most important thing. Like me and Monty talk about other shows. I'm glad he's healthy. I know the health scare with him having a heart attack at like an August practice at the USC, basketball court scared the crap out of everyone, especially, his family. And he didn't get to make his college debut until mid-January. So I know that's a big setback of why he's only averaging 5 points a game, because you already missed 2.5 months of the season. I'm sure a lot of it was mental too, like how far is he going to push himself, when he might be thinking, hey, what am I going to collapse again, even though the doctors have cleared me. I'm sure the first like 3 or 4 games are probably pretty scary. Like, I don't know what's going to happen to me. There's the mental side and the physical side of it, obviously. But I'm glad he's okay. I do think it's a huge upside to him, but like I said, I don't think he showed his best, ball his freshman year with the setback. But I still think he should have played one more year in college. A lot of people might disagree with me. Some people think the time's now. Why not do it now since he has a huge upside? Some people might think that, just let him get, groomed by his dad and other players in the NBA. But I don't. I still think he should have stayed one more year in college. Like, if his dad's playing, great. If not, like, whatever, man. Just come out when you're ready. Because I don't think he's ready. What do you think about this, Brandon?
You know, so a lot of the before I go completely into that, this also ties in with a little bit more about the draft tonight. Like Dalton Knecht, who the Lakers took 17th overall, who miraculously fell down that far. Dalton Knecht's a top 3 player in this draft,
Yeah,
and like what we were just said earlier about potential, um, it, then I've seen so many times in these drafts in the past where these teams want to take a guy that's 17, 18 years old that can jump and is fast over a guy that's played in college and put up numbers and has performed well. And that's a guy like Dalton Knecht. And everyone wants to say, oh, he's 23. Okay, he's 23, but you're getting a guy that's ready right now, that's played 4 years of college, that's played 3 years of college, and that performed. Like Malcolm Brogdon, Cam Johnson, guys that can come into the league because they played so much college
Dame Lillard
that
is another one. Yeah,
they might
Q
not,
school.
yeah, they might not be your all-star and put up 20 a game, but they're going to give you a solid 13, 14, 15 points a game. They'll grab some rebounds, they'll hustle, they'll be able to keep up with the pace of the game and immediately get some rotation time to where they're not a liability out there before. LeBron James Jr., Bronny James, is an immediate liability out on the floor right now. It's this is probably this is probably going to turn into a bashing LeBron soapbox. I can easily go on, but I've
Yeah,
never seen anyone have so much control over their career as LeBron James. And now it's nice to see that this is the first ever father son playing together in the league ever, first time. That's pretty cool. That's never happened before. Um, I believe that LeBron has been on HGH for years, which has given him the ability to play this long and limit his injuries and keep his body fresh. Um, there was a report in 2013 that Bill Simmons came out with when Hedo Turkoglu and Jameer Nelson got suspended for steroid use.
yeah, I remember
There
that. That was a
was,
long time ago. I almost forgot about that. Good call.
yeah,
Good call on that one.
yeah. Ron Paul was their agent,
Yep.
LeBron's agent, and there was
Yep.
an unknown client with the bottle listed LJ that was also picked up from that same supplier that Turkoglu and Jameer Nelson got, and that was in 2013. Since then, LeBron's had what, like 3 hair transplants since then? Like, why is this guy having a hair transplant every 3, 4 years, going bald frequently? Like hair loss is a side effect of steroid use, and I'm just saying, but he's getting. I feel like he's getting away with that. Everyone else in this draft class, their bodies broke down years ago, but he somehow stays fresh. I don't think he's doing anything too different from what those other guys did. So naturally, so no,
Yeah. I didn't know he lost all his hair. I know he's been going bald a little bit, but I didn't know he's been regrowing his hair like 3 times. You brought up something new to me there, but I
look
know
it
he's
up.
thinning on the top a little bit. So am I, but I'm
Oh,
50 years old. But
it it goes, it comes back, it goes, it comes back. It's
yeah, I
just
gotta look into that now that you said that. I know he's losing a little bit on top. He's getting a little light, but I didn't think he's been like that. Like back and forth.
yeah,
I want to piggyback on one of the other comments.
yeah,
So, because I think I said it in our group text to our group. First of all, Monty and Dwayne are Lakers fans, but they're not here
yeah.
tonight. They couldn't join the show tonight, but they're big Lakers fans. I know they got an opinion on this, but they could weigh in on our next show. I know through Monty's text, Monty thinks it could have been a good idea for Bronny James to wait one more year. Not sure what Dwayne thinks. I know Monty was okay with him staying in college one more year. He was kind of surprised, but piggyback what you said about Dalton Knecht. See, I said this in the group text. Like, yeah, I think there's nothing wrong with staying 3 or 4 years in college. And one thing they're saying in the draft on the first night of the draft, they're saying, well, there's like this. I thought it's a completely ridiculous comment. Like, well, they're drafting these guys at 19 or 20 years old because they might have longer longevity, blah blah blah, because they're 3 or 4 years younger. But but you don't know that because, like you said, everyone's just one injury away from never playing again at any age. Obviously if you're younger, it's easier to come back, but you don't know what's going to happen to you. And plus, and to your point, you don't know, like, these guys might take 2 or 3 years even to get even decent playing time, like, on their teams. I
Yep.
mean, yeah, some of these guys can play right away. Some of these, one and dones, they are immediate stars in the NBA. Like Dorian Fox and all the guys that come out of Kentucky, and yes, there's guys that just have immediate impact right away, only playing like 1 year in college. A couple guys right out of high school. Well, LeBron James was good right away. Kobe Bryant took him a couple years, but he started. It took him a year or two, but I'm with you though, man. Like, you're not old at 22, 20 years old. Like,
No.
they're making it sound like these guys are old. I'm like, they're not old. I'm like, yeah, they're a couple years older than a 19-year-old kid, but they're not old, man. 22, 23 years old, you're still a young man. That's why I didn't agree with their comments about they might be getting 3, 4 more extra years out of these guys. Like, you don't know that, man, and no one knows that. No one could wave around the little magic 8 ball and know about that. And
Yeah.
you know, and plus, I agree with what you said. Like, Dalton Knecht is ready to play. They're saying he was dropping because they think maybe his defense is suspect. But I mean, okay, but there's a lot of guys' his defense that might be suspect. Bronny James is known to be a good defender in college, and they say that's one of his strengths. But at the same time, he is very undersized as number 2, and they're saying they're going to be able to take advantage of him on the defensive end because he's only 6'1",
Yeah, let's
and he's going to be short out there. They can
let's see him
shield
guard
the top
Luka
of him.
Doncic.
Huh?
Let's see him guard Luka Doncic.
Well,
How
Bronny
much?
James is, yeah. Let's see him try to guard Luka,
Yeah,
6'7". It's going to back you up and to
let's have
shield
him.
the top of you, man.
Let's have him guard KD out there. Is his defense that good right now? Is he going to shut these
No.
guys down? Is he going to be able to hold them under 50 points? No, no. These guys are going to eat him alive. And what you were saying too, like, if these guys are, if you're okay, let's say year 2, year 3, they're ready. Well, you're drafting them under 4-year contracts, so you're hoping that they pan out in this span. So, are you really investing that much? Like, you draft a guy at 19 based on potential who's played overseas and hasn't played at this level yet. So the I can't even say his name. The first pick from France that the Hawks took. I
I
can't say his
forgot what
name.
his name is too. Doesn't matter. He's a French guy.
Never even heard of him.
France. I can't
Never
remember.
heard of him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
never
I
heard
think
of him.
Anthony Mason, former player. I think he played for the Spurs. I think he played some college in Virginia years ago, but he was saying he played overseas with him. Shocked that this guy went first overall. Hawk saw something. Maybe it was worth it. We'll we'll see. But if the Hawks are really taking this guy, hoping that he reaches potential, then you're hoping he reaches his potential in the third, fourth year, because otherwise you're trading him early, you're letting him go, and you just wasted your first pick off of potential because this guy's pretty athletic. He's young. I think he could be good. Well, yeah, that's a
Yeah,
lot
you
of
can be
hoping.
athletic. Being
Yeah,
athletic helps, but you still got to be able to shoot,
yeah,
and you got to know fundamentals. Yeah,
yeah.
like yeah,
Dalton Connect, he can play defense, but can he play defense to the point to where he can keep up with the speed of the NBA players? Maybe, but you work hard enough at your defense. You maybe shed up. I mean, he's not a big guy, but you shed like maybe 5 pounds, get a little bit of strength in your legs, and you're going to be a little bit quicker, and you can keep up with that. And then used to the speed, you can anticipate quicker, beat the offensive player to the spot more, and that just comes with practice. And
yeah. I
then
think
with
Dalton Knecht
Bronny,
can
yeah,
do it because he's
yeah,
6'6", like you said, and he's taller than Bronny James, and
yeah,
he's played 3 or 4 years of defense in D1. 4 years. He's 23
yeah.
years old. He played 4 years in college, kind of building his way up. You know,
But yeah,
going to Northern Colorado first, then going to Tennessee, and he went somewhere even before Northern Colorado. I mean, he just kept on like moving himself up the ladder in the college ranks, and then got himself to this position to get drafted. I mean, pretty
yeah.
amazing. Like I
And,
said,
and if, yeah,
go
if the
ahead.
guy with him, if the guy guarding him is scoring, if he's going to allow 25 points, he's the kind of player where he's going to score 30, 35, 40 points anyway. So it's just going to be a keep up match with who's ever guarding him, because he just gets buckets, man. That guy can score.
He
He
can
can
score from
play.
multiple ways. He can shoot threes, but he can also drive. He's got the size to drive
Yeah.
the lane and athleticism. He can finish. He's
Great
got
body
good.
control,
Yeah, he's got
strong, smooth
everything, man.
finisher.
Yeah, he really
Yeah.
impressed me last year, especially when I was watching him play against Purdue. Yeah, he's good.
Yeah.
When he played against Purdue in the Elite Eight, yeah, I was like, this guy's good, man.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
he was um,
Well, Bronny, back
all you
then.
Bronny James fans and LeBron James fans not hating on Bronny. First of all, I do want him to do well. We're not trying to sound like we don't want him to
No.
do well. We just don't think he's
No.
ready. If he does do well,
No.
great. I don't think he will his first year, but I won't say he's a bust in 1 year. No one's a bust in 1 year, and he
No.
might not even get much playing time, like we were already
No.
saying. But in 3 or 4 years,
I
from now, if he's not doing anything, then he'll be a bust.
maybe I'm not hating on the guy. I'm being realistic about this. He's not a good player right now. I
No,
don't think he's going to be a good player, period. He doesn't seem to have that natural basketball flow when he's out there playing. I mean, sure,
right,
he's good at defense when he's playing these Division II schools that he was getting playing time against and cutting off passing lanes and playing against
right.
guys at an even lower level, but I don't see it. And a lot of people on the internet want to call this nepotism, and it kind of is. But there's also people that are thinking that this is okay because I've seen things like, oh, it's all about who you know, and that's how you get the job. I mean, sure, yeah, it's who you know that you get the job, but you also have to be a qualified candidate, and he's
Yeah,
not a qualified candidate. If it's also all about who you know, then how about we get the owners' kids in here to play in the league and go into the draft, and they've never touched a basketball in their lives, and then you keep getting that, and it's just in a way you're lowering the quality of the league because you're
yeah.
just having a bunch of people in there that don't deserve to be in the league, but it's LeBron's kid, he wants to get them, and it's just I mean it's also the 55th pick. There was only they had 58 picks this year. There's only 3 picks after him. So I mean, whatever.
Some
It's
people are
just
saying it's not a wasted
irrelevant.
draft pick because of that reason. Like, well, he's 55th pick, so it's not like he was a high pick, so they could have,
No,
But there's a lot of guys that haven't been drafted that are pretty good, because there's only 60 picks in the draft, right, or
yeah.
58, or however many there is,
There
and
was 58 this year. I don't know what happened to those
yeah, I
other
thought there
two
was always
picks.
60. Yeah, I thought there was always 60. So, but there's a lot of guys out there since there's only 2 rounds of the NBA draft compared to football having 7, baseball having God knows how many they got. I mean, like a dozen.
It's over 30, I thought.
Like they got crazy amounts. Yeah. So there's gonna be a lot of guys who get or that are gonna be undrafted free agents playing on teams somewhere next year. There's some good guys out there that weren't drafted.
Yeah.
So you know one of my friends, you're not friends with him on Facebook, so you didn't see the comment. One of my friends did say it could be the flip side of the coin. Maybe this could be he could be the biggest still the draft. You never know. You never know. Like he might be able to like learn something under his dad. What a great way to mentor being with his dad. Like he is talking about the flip side of the coin. We don't know this because of course, no one can predict the future. But even LeBron James does mentor him. It's not going to happen right away. I know that, but he is young, being 19. So I don't know. I don't know.
I haven't seen LeBron really make anyone better since Daniel Gibson in those early
No, he's
Cavalier
not like
years.
Jordan. That's where him
No,
and Jordan are way different about that. Yeah, he's yeah. I'm not a
no.
big yeah. I don't know, man.
He does not make other players better. He gets players that fit the hey, you need to shoot threes. I'm gonna dribble to the basket.
Yeah,
Stat padding. I'm gonna get my assists, and I mean, if he drove to the basket every time, like he's really unstoppable there. His jump shot has improved over the years, but
yeah,
it's just LeBron ball. He drives, everyone else stands out by the three. That's
right. You're absolutely right.
yeah,
Yeah, he looks to kick out. Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
Um, well, we'll see what Brian James does, man. He's gonna have a target on his back too, but we know that.
Yep.
But he's on his dad's team, so I wonder if that'll help out. Is a target on his back gonna be less because he's with his dad versus being on a different team in the NBA where his dad's not gonna be there every night? I'm kind of curious about how that's gonna play out too. You know,
I'm more curious if he's actually going to get minutes.
I think he'll get very little. Monty said this. He thinks he'll get very little, hardly any. Like maybe this, like in garbage time, there's like a big lead with the 2 minutes to go, and they're winning or they're losing by 20 points. He might come in then when
I
it's
think he gets 10 a game. I think they give him 10 minutes a game.
yeah he
Now
might
you got to look at who's coaching. I mean, LeBron's always the coach on this team, always. But
yeah he might get more than scrub time. You're right because he might come in and first he'll come in early in the season because they might want to see how he'll do. I mean, and
I
especially
I I think game one, you see him come in at the end of the first quarter. I
yeah
think
because
Bronny's actually going to get minutes.
there's gonna be ticket sales on this too. My wife and I talked about this actually in our trip today. She knows nothing about basketball, and she was saying one of the reasons she was saying the reason why they drafted him is because of tickets. The LA owner, but the Bus family, they're gonna make tons of money. Like, so somebody has nothing to do with his talent. It's this whole father and son thing, like we said from the very beginning. Like they're gonna sell so many freaking tickets, and he will play a
I,
little bit early on because of that too.
you
And if
know,
well, he might play more, but he's definitely gonna play early on. The first game, he will get in early just because he said they're gonna be so freaking hyped to see LeBron James and Bronny come out to the court together for warm-ups. They're gonna go freaking nuts.
you know what? I'm going to argue against that because the Lakers will sell out no matter what. Even
That's
back in the
true.
Kobe years
Showtime.
with
That's true. That's true. That's true. That's true. Very
Chris
true.
Chris Mim, Shmush Parker, Samari Walker, and Kobe. Like I don't even know who their forward was at the time, Bobby Simmons, something like that. They they're just such. They're always going to sell. Lakers will always sell, but yeah, they'll get the merchandising with Bronny. They'll get all the attention. But I think this is all about making LeBron happy and keeping him because for some reason they still think that LeBron's going to be the guy to lead them on to get another championship, but he can't really get them out of the play-ins the last 2 years. So I don't
Yeah, we
know
talked about that last show.
why they still believe in that.
Yeah, they've been struggling after they won their bubble championship. Yeah, they haven't done much. We talked about that last show, actually.
Yeah,
You're right. They haven't done hardly anything in the last 3 years. So
the
yeah,
Mickey Mouse championship.
yep.
Yeah, yeah,
Good point. We'll see what happens though, man. But a lot of it's just for publicity and like selling jerseys and a lot of things, man.
yeah.
All right, let's talk about two other guys that are very interesting in this
All
draft.
right.
I'm surprised it went so high, especially Edey. But Donovan Clingan goes number 7, and Zach Edey goes number 9. Zach Edey dominated Clingan in the first half of the national championship game when it was still close. A very good game in the first half. In the second half, of course, UConn ran away like they did all tournament long. They did it to every team in the tournament, pretty much. But even though Edey dominated Clingan, Clingan is probably a better fit for the NBA. I think overall. Not that, but I'm kind of silently rooting for Edey. I think he'll be okay, but I don't think he's gonna. I for sure as hell did not think he was gonna be the number 9 pick. I thought he'd be like middle of the second round
Yeah.
somewhere.
Yeah.
You know, but I knew he'd get drafted. I knew he has a good work ethic. His footwork is really good in the post. He's improved that a lot his past 2 years. I think he'll have some ability to score some points around the basket like he did in college. You know, of course these guys are more athletic, but he has good post moves. He has size. He's not skinny, so he can put his weight on people where they can't block his shot as easily. He needs to use his body well, so he doesn't get his shot blocked.
Yeah.
Like I said, I am rooting for him. You know, so I knew he'd get drafted, but I'm still surprised he's number 9. His biggest thing that one we don't know how well these guys can even shoot, and in today's NBA, big guys got to be able to shoot. I'm not saying they got to shoot threes all day long, but they got to at least have a good mid-range jump shot. We don't know
Yeah.
how well they can shoot. That's my question mark. And of course, with Zach Edey, like how I mean, he has great stamina. He could play all game long. He hardly came out all tournament long. I mean, because it seems like when he came out, Purdue started sucking, so they put him right back in.
Yeah.
I
Yeah. Yeah.
mean, his stamina and endurance is good for a big man. He can run up and down the floor very well. But my question is he did like most typical big men, his lateral movement. So how well can he move side to side? Because that's where I think he's going to get ate up in the NBA. These guys are athletic. He might be able to go up and down straight, but can you move your feet from side to side and not get your ankles broken? He's going to look like he's going to get postered a couple times. But that happens to all big men in his defense. He won't be the only guy that's happened to. But that's my thing. What do you think about this, Brandon? Are you surprised?
I texted a buddy who's a big, good friend of mine, big Blazers fan. He had a pretty good, theory about Klingan. Me personally, Klingan going at 7 to the Blazers, I kind of felt like he's going to be the eventual replacement for DeAndre Ayton. I can't
Yep.
see them wanting to pay up to re-sign him. Um, it, Klingan does play better defensively, and he's a big guy. Um, as far as what he said, uh, and it's very true, but no NBA team carries to the big man anymore. It's all screens and ISO.
Yep.
The Blazers, they like to run both of those schemes, and it's this is not a good fit for him, especially with how it's a shoot the three, spot up kind of league ISOs. So
Yeah.
he's, and I feel like the same with Edey. I feel like both these guys would have been top 5, top 3 picks maybe back in 2004. It
Yeah.
has changed so much. Edey was more shocking for me.
Same
And yeah,
here.
you're right. He's got the stamina, but this is a lot faster game. These guys move up the floor and score in 6 seconds. So
Yeah,
can he
exactly.
keep up with that? I don't know. He definitely doesn't have he can't, I can't see either one of them guarding the perimeter. So hopefully this is the start of resurgence to where we have low posts back in the NBA, but I don't think that's the case especially with
Yeah.
how my Knicks made the trade. I can't see that happening with a lot of these top tier teams right now. With it's going to be all guard wing perimeter play. So Edey, I can see how the Grizzlies needed the center, trading away Steven Adams and not having that big man presence. But um, this is we'll see. That was I'm not saying they drafted a bad player. I'm just they could have drafted a bad fit for the league.
Yeah.
But we'll see if they use him right. And a lot of the reason why he did have stamina is because Purdue just played slow paced basketball,
They
mainly to
did.
cater to him.
That's Big Ten in general. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
Big Ten
exactly.
style.
Yeah, yeah. Big Ten's
That's
very,
one thing that
very slow.
drives me crazy about them. Even though
Yeah.
they're a really good basketball conference, like their style of play kind of drives me nuts because yeah, that's why they have a hard time in March Madness usually too. But with the exception of this year, because of course the Big Ten team made it to the championship game being Purdue. But
Mhm.
they've been struggling in other March Madnesses, you know, except for Michigan State, but both of them suck this year. But
Yeah, 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 exactly.
Michigan State have been kind of like the teams that always seem to do well in March Madness. And the Big Ten teams always lose like in the first and second round. It's annoying. So
Yeah.
I'm a Big Ten guy, so I know this. Usually, Michigan State are the strong points of the Big Ten in the
Yeah.
past, with the exception of this year. They usually make deep runs. But yeah, I think they're going to struggle too. We'll see how it plays out. But I was surprised about Klingan and Edey, but I was more surprised about Edey. Um, Obviously, Klingan's younger, only playing 2 years in college. But he seems a little bit quicker to me than what Zach Edey is. Klingan to me, he seems a little bit more athletic.
Mm-hmm.
He seems to have a little bit more bounce. But like you said, we don't know how they can shoot though. That was the biggest thing. Like I said, to open up this statement was like they have to be able to shoot. They don't gotta shoot threes like KD and Kevin Garnett, KG. They both can shoot threes and they can run. They're not these freakish athletic 7-foot big men that those two guys were, but that could play almost every position on the freaking court. They're not that, but but I don't even know if they have a 15-foot jump shot. They got that, they'll be okay, or if they can develop it. Only thing I see them do is just dunk inside or like hook shots, So
at the same time, no one can really seem to guard a hook anymore, right?
No.
They never see him.
They occasionally go to the post in the NBA, not a lot, like you said. The game has changed. They go down low a little bit, so that's where Edey can have his success when they get into a half court game. If they don't fast break it and they get into a half court set, maybe he'll get some shots up. We'll see. Same thing with Klingan, but we'll see, man. I don't know. But it's very surprising to say the least. But like I said, this whole draft was just weird, like we said from the very beginning. Like the way people are picking people is all based off potential, and yeah, a lot of these picks were strange to me from the very jump. Let's talk about the NBA draft itself, the new format that we're talking about in our pregame, Brandon. This 2-day format. I watched day one because it was on at night when I got home from work. Day two on the West Coast, I'm still at work, and they're having like the draft at 1:00 in the afternoon. I'm like, what are they doing? What before it was always this one day? Like, why do they go this 2-day format? They don't need 2 days. They're only drafting 2 rounds. It goes fast. What is up with that, Brandon? Tell me about this. What was their thought on that?
Did they think it was cool? I mean, to summarize it in one word, it's dumb.
Yeah.
It's 5 minutes for your first round picks, 2 minutes for your second. And I don't know why I don't know why they decided to do it. I don't know if they think like, oh, other leagues do this. We have to do this now.
But they have 7, 10, 12 rounds, They got days in the draft, like 3 or 4 days.
Yeah. I mean, NFL, it makes sense because round one's 4 hours.
Yeah.
And day two, it's rounds 2 and 3. Those picks go from 10 minutes to 5 minutes, 8 minutes. Something. I think it's 5 minutes, and then they're pretty quick after that. I don't know what their thought is. If they thought they're going to be getting the revenue for just the TV time. Just keep it one night. It's a 2-round draft. I mean, I'm not doing the math right now in my head of it, but you have 35-minute picks and you have 32-minute picks. So it's not going to be more than an hour in round 2. So just get it over with.
Yeah, they could have kept it on one more hour. Yeah.
1 hour. Exactly. I only found out about it because I didn't even look the next morning. I went to work and I go to the gym in the afternoon and I saw pick 56 was up. I was like, what? I was like, oh, it's a replay. And then I saw it was live. I was like, what? Like, they're doing 2 days.
Well, yeah, they did. It was just insane, I don't know why they did it 2 days. I don't know if they're gonna do that again next year, but hopefully they don't. I don't think it worked out very well. I'm not sure what their ratings were for day 2, but I don't think they could have been very good because who was watching it unless they had the ability to watch at work because they could get to a TV at work. Some guys can watch work at TV, but a lot of guys cannot. So
no. I mean, it was what was it here? It was 4 p.m. here. What 1 p.m.
1 p.m. here. It was 4 p.m.
It was 1 p.m. Yeah, so it was 4 p.m. East Coast. Yeah.
On East Coast, guys are just barely getting off work at that time. They might just be like hitting the subway or something. Like I don't know, like you know,
People that show up for happy hour, they got to see it.
yeah. Yeah,
Happy hour
New
crowds.
York, you guys got lucky. The East Coast guys, the only guys that probably ever watched it. Yeah, you went to some bar for happy hour and
Yeah,
you guys got to watch it, but with the rest of us did not.
yeah. Little
Um,
little side note. I got a question for you.
yeah, go
What do
for it.
you think about the NFL draft going to all these cities? Because me personally, I miss I miss the Radio City Music Hall NFL drafts. I miss those, man. And maybe it's just my Jets fandom. And I know this is football basketball show, but I
That's okay.
talking
We
about the
could,
drafts made me
it's
think of
anything
it.
from the grid to the rim, like we always say.
Yeah, yeah. We're going to
We
the
can
grid
always
now.
spice it up.
Yeah, we're going
Yeah,
to the grid now. I miss those Radio City Music Hall drafts, and maybe
just
it's
being there
just
all the time and not changing cities.
I wish they went back to that, and maybe it's just
I
because I'm a
agree because
Jets fan.
it's kind of like custom. No, I agree with you. It's
Yeah,
very custom, and you know what to expect. But at the same time, I know they're trying to give other cities a chance to host a draft because I might, lobby more people in for the NFL, maybe for numbers wise. But I agree with you. Like I'm old school like you. Like yeah, I just like it do it that way because that's kind of like the pastime. That's where the NFL draft is. You know where the NFL draft is going to be. That's the history of the NFL. I mean, yeah, just keep on doing it that way, man. And New York is obviously big, one of the biggest cities in the United States. I mean, the Big Apple's got a lot of pool, man. So why change it? Yeah,
did you have the Jets pick come up, and it's half Jet fans are there, and it's
half
just like
Giants fans are
massive
there. Yeah, that's
boos,
crazy. Yeah.
massive
That's crazy.
boos, massive. The interviews from the Jets fans in the crowd is just classic stuff, man. But when I look at the draft now for the NFL, and I see these fans that are front row and they're in their little it just looks like they just farmed everyone to be in this section. Oh, you're this team, go to this section.
Yeah. They kind of
It,
it looks set up.
it just looks so set up and cheesy. It doesn't look authentic. It just looks so not real. And it just seems like they just hired actors just to play. Hey, you're playing the
Right.
Chiefs fan this year. You're
Yeah,
playing the Broncos fan this year. And they just get them in these. I get fans wear ridiculous costumes. It's part of the aesthetic for it. But yeah, I don't know, man.
I don't
I
know.
kind of miss those old Radio City Music Hall drafts, man.
Well, I agree with you. I'm sure some people disagree with us because some people like the whole city to thing where every city gets their chance, which is it's kind of that's kind of cool in a way. But I agree, just keep
Yeah,
it in the
yeah.
big. It makes sense, but I agree overall though. Just keep it in the Big Apple because that's where it's always been. It's kind of the pastime. I don't like when pastimes are taken away. Just like I don't like another subject before we close. Why isn't the Pro Bowl in freaking Hawaii? Like I liked it being in
Please.
Hawaii. See what I'm saying? Like, why is it in some freaking place in Florida? Like, just keep it in Hawaii. I was stationed in Hawaii for 3 years, and I got to see two of those things. It was awesome. I
Yeah,
mean, even though they're not playing full speed and everything, it's still great to see those guys out there in pads. And they play a little bit in the fourth quarter if the game is tight. That's when they start playing.
yeah.
But you still get to see your favorite players out there. And I went 2 years in a row, and it was awesome. I mean, I know Hawaii doesn't have a big stadium. Their stadium only sits like 50,000, but it's like the Pro Bowl. How many people are showing up to the one in Florida? I mean, are they sitting more than 50,000 people? I don't think so.
Man, I was at Camping World Stadium uh, during the Pro Bowl when I lived in Orlando. I was Ubering. I didn't care to see. I'm not buying tickets. I made some money. I was Ubering. Now
Yeah,
that line to pick up people was insane. It's
yeah,
just you're looking at like a 2 mile street right next to the stadium, and there were so many people there. There was a lot of people there, but it's just families taking their kids, and I just took them back to the Disney Resort in
right.
Kissimmee, just south of it. But it the Pro Bowl's dead. This flag football was horrible. The skill games are not the same,
Yeah, I
and
agree.
I don't
It
care.
sucked. It sucked. I don't like the flag
The
thing either.
dodgeball, they play dodgeball, man. It's not recess. I don't want to watch recess, man.
No, I agree. I think it should be in Hawaii because it gives people a motivation to go out there because Hawaii is Hawaii. Florida is different than
Yeah,
Hawaii.
just
That's kind of like a celebration. I mean, and you get to see Hawaii and on top of going to the Pro Bowl. I mean, anyways,
NBA All Star game is pretty horrible too.
Oh, they're getting worse, worse, and worse, man. NBA All-Star games are
Didn't they
horrible,
score like
man.
500 points the last All
Yes,
Star game?
no defense. It's ridiculous. Like I mean, I know you want to see guys dunk, you want to see a fast-paced game, but no defense at all. It's absolutely freaking ridiculous. I didn't even watch it this year. That's how bad it is. So, and I'm a
I saw the
basketball
halftime
guy.
score and I thought it was the end of the game.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. You gotta play some defense. I know you don't want to get hurt. I know it's not a real game, but come on, you gotta play some defense, man. Your competitive nature has got to kick in at some point. I mean, yeah, and yeah, it's a big. They've lost so many TV ratings past 3 or 4 years with the NBA All Star game. It's getting worse, worse, and worse. They got to get it. They got to do something about that quickly.
Dunk contest isn't good. The 3-point contest is the only thing worth watching for the whole weekend.
Yeah, I like the 3 point contest. You're right. That's the only thing I watch. Yep. Yeah,
Now
absolutely.
the scoring system for the rookie sophomore game, that's pretty cool. I like the scoring
Right.
system. That's actually a little bit more competitive. Um, I think it's like first to this many points for halftime, first to so over many
Right.
points, game's over. I mean, I kind of like that actually. The actual All Star game, man, Kobe would just be ashamed right now.
A lot of people would
There's
be ashamed. Kobe, Michael Jordan, all these
yeah,
guys, man. You know, I
yeah.
mean, well, obviously Michael Jordan's alive, so I understand why you're referring to Kobe there.
Jordan is ashamed. Yeah,
Rolling over in his grave, you know. But yeah,
he did. Kobe rolled over, man.
yeah,
Yeah,
I'm sure he did.
Jordan's ashamed. Yeah, he don't want
Yeah,
any part of that. He took all their shoes after the game. He's done.
yeah. Oh my God. Well, that's it for the show. In closing, just let us know what you think about what happened in the NBA draft. Like me and Brandon said, seemed like a lot of what ifs, kind of like a lot of unknowns. A lot of guys is trying to build up potential. A lot of interesting picks. Not saying it wasn't a good draft, but it was interesting. Let us know what you think about Bronny James. Me and Brandon and I using English correctly. My aunt would correct my English. Brandon and I, um, we don't think Bronny is ready. But let us know your thoughts on that. If you guys think he is ready, that's hey, no harm, no foul. We all got different opinions. That's what From the Grid to the Rim is. We all got different perspectives on these things. So let us know if you agree or disagree. Let us know what you think about Edey and Klingan. I think they might get ate up. Like I said, I am secretly rooting for Edey. So hopefully in the next, I think he could be. I think personally he could be a solid role player, but he's not going to be any kind of all star. Probably not Klingan either. They just might play some solid minutes and give some good quality minutes off the bench throughout their careers, and they might work into a starting role eventually, but probably not. Just a solid guy that every team's going to need off their bench to give them like a good 15 plus minutes a game or something like that. Solid defense, maybe solid rebounding, blocking shots, wherever the case may be. But anyways, that's it, man. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. You got any closing thoughts, Brandon?
Um, yeah, look out for those Knicks this year, man. I like the McCall Bridges trade. You
Yes.
know, yeah,
Good point.
big on that. I think a lot of people are gonna not like that we gave up 5 first-round picks, but those are just borderline second-round picks, anyways. Fits right in. It plays into the small ball that they like to play at the
Villanova
end of the game.
factor, yeah.
Plays great perimeter defense, hustles, and if we have another guy go down like that, we have so many different combinations of guys that just make smart passes, smart decisions on offense, and hustle with playing tough D. And I don't know if it's enough to beat the Celtics right now because Porzingis is a game changer in that entire conference, but
Yeah.
I think it's something where we can go from getting swept to maybe making a 6-game series against the Celtics, barring both teams are healthy. So I'm excited to watch some New York Knicks basketball this upcoming season.
Yeah. We were talking about that last show. A lot of upcoming teams that could catch Boston.
Yeah.
Indiana's one, New York's one. You know, yeah, we were talking about last show if the Celtics could have a dynasty. So we don't know. They have a chance. We don't know because there's a lot of teams on the rise.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting, man.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
all right, man. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing, and have a good night. We'll see you next time. Peace.
Yep. See you.